Spoilers. Okay, remember there's a lot of spoilers in this because I'm doing basically a walkthrough and reaction to everything, assuming that you've either already seen it or don't care about spoilers. So, episode 11 of reacting to Detective. Observations about the episode, and yes, continuing with Mir fronting means continuing likes, dislikes, and comments mixed up. Number 1, the shot was off. Okay, where was he aiming then? Mir, yes, has a temper that takes him to dark places, and if nothing else, that is the point of this show. But he has reasons. As far as I can tell, he's always got a reason. He's not just losing his head. He's not going chaotic. He's not going over what he thinks is fair, as far as I can tell. He thinks it's fair. Whether he's right or wrong in that, a lot of the times he is wrong, and he needs to grow up and learn and grow. Is he ever given a chance to? But not causing entirely unnecessary bloodshed. As far as I can tell, he doesn't do that. Except perhaps in the jail cell part, but even there, like I said, what was that jail? Were the guards really any more innocent than the people that were in there? Who knows? Did Mir shoot the guy in the leg just because he could, or did he do it to see the wife's reaction? I don't know. Probably a mixture of both. I don't think he minds causing people pain. If he thinks they deserve it in any way, shape, or form. And to be fair, it's the doctor that they're saying killed the wife at this point. So, and even if he didn't, he's saying that it's him that did it. So, Number 2, consistency and depth. Mir doesn't seem to care if people kill people, but I mean that in a way not like he's going to encourage people to go out and do it, but in a way like, yeah, that's how people are. That's how the world turns. What else do you expect? He basically says that later on. I mean, why waste energy on being surprised? And of course, if the person that died wasn't a good person, really, who cares? Though despite this attitude, Mir still does the work of a detective to put these people behind bars. So, Number 3 observation, Mir allows nothing to stop him from solving the case. If the wrong person testifies, he doesn't care why. He wants nothing but the full truth exposed. That's what it seems from this case. That's how he's acting. So he pushes. The guy literally stabs him in the left side of his chest. This is what makes him retaliate. Tapan does say when he tried to kill the doctor, and I'd say Tan believes he was going to do so as well, so I guess that was Mir's intention, proving he himself is fine with killing people too if he believes they deserve it, which is very different from what we are being told about Tan. Tan doesn't keep bullets in his gun. Remember, he doesn't even want bullets in his gun. He's not even giving himself the opportunity to kill someone because he won't even keep the bullets in his gun. Whereas Mir is like, you stab me in the left side of the chest, and I'm going to stab you in the left side of the chest, and I might just do it a little lower where your heart is. Number 4 observation, so many comments to make about the whole Tan is back scene, likes and dislikes altogether. Number 1 is Tapan's reaction. He wasn't questioning until Mir shot someone. And 2, he wasn't positive until Mir tried to kill the doctor. So, how much different is Mir from Tan overall? Or, how good is he at masking? And if it's just thanks to masking, I ask again why on earth he was doing it. I don't know if I should say this, but he's really good. That's what Tapan said. Actually, voices the fact he appreciates things about Mir. The only reason he feels guilty about that is because Tan doesn't like it. So, this is why I say, Tapan's reaction to Mir, this is the first time that he's met Mir and interacted with Mir. It took him forever to figure out that it was Mir, not Tan. It took him forever to figure out that there was actually something wrong rather than Tan just losing his temper and acting a little weird. So, like I say, how much different are Mir and Tan? People can be very, very similar at the surface level, but deeper down, they're very different. That happens a lot in real life. That's why, characters can seem like they're the same, but if you don't know their background stories, the root of what's driving Tan and Mir are obviously very different. Because, later on, I think it's Tapan that makes the comment that you guys are actually it's right away, I think. Yeah, down there in point 3, so I'm skipping ahead. That they are very different, and, this shows that they're actually very different. But it's also true that there is actually a lot of similarity between them. And that's what I think is the case here with Mir and Tan. They are actually very similar at the same time as being very different. because of life experience and different things that are driving them. And as far as I can tell, this is within a realistic scale, the differences but similarities. And I'd like to know if any system watches this show, if they agree with that, or if they think it's still too far outside of the realistic. Okay, cutting that part of the video out of the video. So I'm not sure if I made my point there or not, but I'm going to move on. Number 2 observation about this is Tan's reaction. Honestly, it's sad. He wants to coexist with and trust Mirror, but after one try, he gives up. One try, and he obviously can't coexist with Mirror. He has to go entirely. Why, Tan? Why? You reason with Jajan over and over, but you can't reason with Mirror? You can't talk with him? It takes work when people have been that negative for that long. Why must he give up so quickly? Okay, it seems too dangerous to let him front. If he's willing to kill people, it makes sense to keep him inside. But why must you entirely give up after one try? It's sad. It's really sad. I understand how scared and upset Tan is, but it's really sad to me. And that's one of the things about the show it's not fair that they don't show us more. It looks to me like it's only been one time that he's really tried. And like, just because of this one backstab betrayal where Mirror turns out that he was setting a trap and stuck him inside and came out and like went to a dangerous... it would be the second time at least maybe the third time if you count the 2 flashbacks that we saw. But we'll get there. But to me, it's like one try, and you gotta give up on him. Number 3, Dapan's reaction. You and him are so different, says Dapan, because Tan says wait to arrest the expecting mother while Mirror planned to do it right away. But is there actual judgment? No, because Dapan clearly sees it both ways. He just about walked out to arrest the mother too. But he agreed with Tan as well and waited. Again, appreciation of Dapan and his attitudes toward both alters. And again, different and crossing lines he shouldn't be, but does that completely write him off? Doesn't seem like it when we read Dapan's book. This is why I say this is one of the reasons why I don't think that Mirror is just some evil alter. Because Dapan, as far as we have seen from the show, Dapan is a good, solid person. The things that he believes in, the morals that he holds, the strength of his character, the etc. I mean, given he himself said we could just rough them up when we were like interrogating people in the jail or whatever. Maybe he's crossed a few lines or told a few lines or stuff. Like, he seems capable of doing that. But as far as I can tell, he's like a good person that wouldn't be like crossing into the extremes and not like going to dark places like that are really bad or anything like that. So if he's not writing off Mirror, then what gives us the right to write off Mirror? What I specifically liked about this episode: 1, Tan is more concerned about how the case wrapped up than anything when he wakes up. Okay, he does this all the time. He's extremely one-track minded, apparently. Aside from being confused how he got to the hotel, the missing memory is only being knocked out. He was aware of all the rest. And LOL, Dapan mimed it behind Jajan's back so that she wouldn't know that he knocked him out. It's so funny the way he did that. Tan doesn't seem extremely negative about the fact that Mirror came out. He seems more disappointed in himself, if anything, for basically not being careful enough. And it's not necessarily about the fact that Mirror came out. It's what Mirror did while he was out that he didn't like, which is perfectly fair. And I think actually kind of cool that, like, it's not the fact that Mirror came out, it's what he did when he came out that upset Tan. And that would upset me too. Number 2, what I specifically liked, Dapan's reaction to Mirror. Honestly, Dapan compliments him, and ultimately, aside from stopping him from going much too far, he seemed to like Mirror. Like, he would have known after the fact, he could have gone back over the whole thing and he would have known that all of that was Mirror, and he seems to have no objection to Mirror himself. The only objection he has is when he actually tried to kill someone, and he stopped him from doing that. So, like, to me, this is, like, really cool. You know, like, I made the reference ages ago to Pan's interactions and relationship with Tan, but also his interactions and relationship with Mirror. I wish we'd seen more of it. We'll get there. Hold on. What I specifically disliked about this episode, number one, the cut to Changmin saying no, they won't help him. It was poorly placed in my opinion. Action, continued action. Not well timed. Number two, dislike, the Song family is just weird to me. Changmin is so hard to understand. I don't get why he seems so close and confident about his older brother. After 7 years and clear changes, if the oldest brother is known for drinking and gambling and beating his wife, either Changmin doesn't care, or the guy wasn't like that before, and now Changmin knows, but he seriously is barely reacting to it. He still has so much confidence and warmth for his older brother, but in a way like he's just sidestepping all the wrongs. Doing nothing, saying nothing, just ignoring it all. Like, why? You think that's gonna help anything? Like, Changmin is acting like a part of the family, but not like a part of the family, especially as the story progresses. It feels a little contradictory and more than a little weird, and the dissonance is just odd and kind of irritating. Number three that I specifically disliked. Did the priest really say Dapan has to stop Mir? Like, he legit thinks Mir should not be allowed to have control of the body at all? That's not fair. He doesn't seem to know him, does he? He hasn't even tried to know him yet, has he? And even if he had for either of those, why does he get to decide this? Every altar is valid, not just the host. So, like, what is with this priest? What I had questions about, why did Tan have to let his guard down, and how much further down was it, really, to be tricked here but not back the first time he went into the inner world? And how much did being knocked out play into it? Or is it literally just the medication that put Mir back inside? Question number two, going forward, we know that Tan has forgotten at least once when Mir came out in the past, or more accurately, seems like he partly forgot. His reactions here implies he totally forgot, or was he just confused over that being what made Jajan like him? Because later on, when we see the full memory, so Tan can't be basing his obviously he can't coexist on that childhood instance. So did he also forget the jail instance? Were there any other times? This giving up after one try, is it only one try, or has he tried before? It feels like just once, but going back he was already that set against him from the beginning of the show. Has there been other times Tan does remember that went badly? Question number three, I'm not sure if there's a better place to ask it, but before I forget again, one thing this drama doesn't handle right as far as I can tell is the amnesia. DID always comes with amnesia. And while this show makes it look at first like there are childhood things Tan has forgotten or never known about, later it seems to contradict some of that, and it doesn't seem like there's enough of it. Like I said, it seems like Mir is constantly just as aware as Tan is, or regularly aware. When I wrote this, I said constantly, but I've kind of sort of changed my mind. Maybe it isn't that he's constantly, maybe it's just those certain times that he's always aware. But he doesn't seem to have a lot of amnesia, so either he is aware a lot, or he is, like, really good at getting the memories from Tan, or something. Like, they just never show either one of them really being lost on what's happening. So I ask again, is that possible? I know there's OSDD, and is there another one where there are alters but no amnesia, but this show is supposed to be dealing with DID, isn't it? So how much of this is possible? How much of it is true? And how much of it is completely out to lunch and therefore irritatingly misleading? The whole lack of amnesia. I'm not entirely sure whether there is just really lack of amnesia in this show, or if they just don't show it. Like, it seems to be a combination of both. They just really don't go into amnesia part of it in this show. Moving on to episode 12, and, like, in a way I feel like I'm moving too fast through all of this stuff, but, like, how long ago was it that I wrote this thing? This is part of the problem. I almost need to watch this for a third time to really get myself into it. I feel like I'm skimming over stuff and not, I'm kind of like, and kind of speaking through it rather than, like, taking this stuff seriously when it's a serious topic. But it's been a little while now since I've like, it took a while to write all this out. Now it's taking a while to actually film these videos, and it's been a while since I've seen it. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. Episode 12. Observations about the episode. Number 1, first time Mir isn't given a chance to say anything at all. instant suppression. Like I said, Tan, I know you are terrified and upset, but the refusal to have any communication at all is so damaging and so sad. It's not something I dislike, even putting aside a case of DID, because just relationships in general, I know. It's real when you are that scared and upset that it's so hard to talk. So it's 100% understandable. But it really does cause so much more damage and pain in the end. We even see some of that within this show. And therefore, it's sad and frustrating to see it happening. This is like a point that can be paused and talked about for a long time, because I'm not faulting. I'm saying, like, this is actually a real depiction of a real thing. Even if he himself doesn't think there's any way to talk to Mir, like, this is the one thing, one of the main things when, like, you're struggling with stuff like this. He's doing so much of it by himself. He doesn't want to burden Jajan, okay? But, like, we only see 2 people within this show that knows that he has DID. The priest and Dapan. And it's like Dapan knows, and Tan talks with him some, but how much does Dapan know? Does Tan really talk to him about his concerns about Mir and about things they've been through or anything? I don't think so. Dapan knows about the DID, and he sort of knew about Mir until he met him, and then he didn't know that it was Mir until it was time to say goodbye. Dapan doesn't really know Mir from Mir's perspective. That's part of the thing with this show. Like, nobody else gets to know Mir outside of Tan's opinion of him. None of the characters. Us as the viewer, we get to see Mir, and we kind of get to see through his actions and reactions and expressions and all that stuff. We kind of get to know Mir ourselves. But even the viewer is a little bit biased on our opinions of Mir, because we hear Tan's opinion so much of him. And, like, a lot of what we see is filtered through Tan because of so many missing years, etc., and so many missing memories. So, like, a lot of us as a viewer is biased on our opinion of Mir, let alone what the characters. And that's one of the disappointing things to me. Like, it comes up later on how much of a mistake some of that is, and how disappointing it is that they presented it that way. But this whole thing is real. Like, so many of the issues that Mir and Tan have could have been avoided, or could have been less damaging and detrimental if only there was a way that they could have had help. It's just sad. The fact that they can't talk with each other, they can't communicate with each other, they're struggling so hard. Like, Tan himself is struggling so hard, and it's like, it's real, it's too real, and I have no other words to say but sad, because it's frustrating when you know that, like, he's struggling and he doesn't have help. And I would say this about any show, regardless of whether someone has DID or not. When I watch a show and someone has some kind of struggle that they're dealing with and they have no help, it's really sad. I mean, I've been through that in my own life too, where I felt like I could not talk to people about things. Like, one thing that actually did happen in my own life, it took a long time before I talked to anybody about what was going on. And I didn't talk to anybody about what was going on until I was, like, totally breaking down. Like, the world had crashed down around me. And, like, I was sobbing so hard that I could barely get the words out. And that's a real thing. Like, it took until I felt like I was completely shattered and broken. Like, there was no way to fix this before I was actually talking to people. And that's kind of what I feel like is happening. That's why I say it's real, because now I'm thinking of those memories and I'm choking up here. This is why I say I'm not skimming over this. This is a very real thing. Where you see the struggle that Tan is having, where he is trying so hard to handle this. But he's doing it alone. He won't even let Dapan really help. And it's like, I don't know if Dapan's not pushing because he's trying to be polite toward Tan and Mir, because it's not helpful when you like try to back someone into a corner and make them talk to you. That's not going to work. But at the same time, like it doesn't show us, has Dapan ever said, do you want to talk about it? I mean, like, he probably, in a way, you'd say he probably hasn't specifically said that, because, like, within his character, would he? And he also, like, he himself has said that he's not very smart, so maybe he hasn't because he doesn't think he has any answers, so why would he? But he's there. He's very much there. If Tan wanted to talk about it, I'm sure that Dapan would. And that's the thing, like, Mir has nobody to talk to, because nobody knows he even exists. Like, putting aside whether he wants to talk to anybody or not, he doesn't even have the opportunity. He doesn't even have the chance. He can't. Even if he wanted to, he can't, because he's suppressed inside. So he can't even talk to anybody, even if he wanted to, outside of Tan. Like, Tan's the only one he can talk to. And then Tan himself, for whatever different reasons, he doesn't want to make it known that he has DID, which is perfectly fair. He doesn't want to make it known that he has these struggles, but he himself is putting himself inside of a little, he's keeping himself trapped inside of this stuff himself, because he's bent on handling this himself. And like, there's so many different reasons why people do this. Like, I myself wasn't talking about it because I didn't want to burden other people with it. I thought I was overreacting. I didn't think that there was any way they could help anyway, so what's the point of telling them? There's all kinds of reasons. So many different valid reasons within, like, that we don't want to tell people when we're going through something. So it's very, very real that Tan doesn't want to, or doesn't think he can, or anything like that, talk to other people. But like I say, even within this show, that's one of the things that I think it does a good job of showing, like, what happens when there's no support. Like, very little support. Tan has support from Dapan. And that's one of the reasons why I love the relationship so much, because Dapan, even if he doesn't know how to support him, he's there. And he's like, he loves Tan and all of that stuff, and it's so good. But even within that, there's things that he can't do for Tan, because Tan doesn't talk about it, doesn't want to talk about it, it seems. He just... Oh, so yeah, there's that whole tangent of stuff. So moving on to observations about episode 12 is the overdosing. Tan isn't wrong about Mir, or about law keepers keeping the law, coughs hard, Jajan coughs hard. Like Mir's claim that Tan refuses to see evil and therefore makes mistakes / misses things, Mir doesn't think he's wrong to cross lines in order to solve a case. And it's understandable that Tan, looking at the bigger picture of the healing and true justice not happening because of this, hates that and is angry at Mir for not understanding. But instead of finding a way to educate him, reason with him something, although this is the one time that we do see Tan trying to make Mir understand, and Mir clearly doesn't want to listen. But I mean, it's kind of hard to judge that, because I mean, if you don't have like a good relationship with someone, even if they're saying something true to you, you're not going to listen, because you don't want to take it from them. Like, if someone is criticizing you, even if it's a like, there's bad criticism and there's good criticism. There's criticism that's trying to build someone up and educate them and make them learn, and there's criticism that's trying to tear someone down, right? But even if it's good criticism that's trying to make you grow, if you don't like this person, if you don't have a good relationship with them, if you don't know them, etc., you're not going to take it. So Mir's not taking it. Is he not taking it because he doesn't care? I'd say, yeah, no, he doesn't care. It probably wouldn't matter who was saying it to him, but at the same time, it probably doesn't help that it's coming from Tan. Tan ends up letting all the negative emotions he already feels for Mir and insecurities about himself control his actions, and even puts aside his own safety in favor of doing anything except working with Mir to help Mir understand and grow, to get rid of Mir. And we see the real overdosing begin. And we see the instant results that happen because of it, with Tan's slow and sloppy reactions to Dapan's news. Tan is really pushed into overdosing beginning. He's getting desperate. He's getting really desperate. And that's one of the things I say could be avoided if only he'd had someone that he could talk to about all of this that could properly help and support and encourage him. When you try to take things this serious into your own hands and just... That's real. That is a real thing. What I specifically liked about this episode, Tan and Dapan's teamwork against Deputy Ba. The kick and the grin, the laughs and the thumbs up. It was so cute. And oh, that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes if you... Hold on, I get to the dislikes. But that scene, I love it. Tan and Dapan. Oh. Number 2, Tan's taking responsibility for Mirror's actions. I don't think it's just because Ba doesn't know and Tan doesn't want to let him know that Mirror exists. I'm positive Tan feels the responsibility regardless and even joins hands with it, considering he at least in part agrees with Mirror. We had no other way. Not in how, that was over the top and excessive, but for what? Like why Mirror did that, Tan's not mad, it seems, because he agrees. So he let it happen and he's glad for the results. So there you go. He wanted to catch that guy. He didn't want to be taken away and let that guy get go free for what he did. So he doesn't agree with how Mirror handled it, but he's glad for the results. So he kind of joins hands with Mirror in that, and he takes responsibility for what Mirror did in order to get it done. Number 3 of specific likes, again, the relationship. Even though they have struggles and issues, the true desire and love moving it all is so refreshing and adorable. Too often in shows, the girl can't cook. It's gross, the guy pretends it's fine, and this is supposed to be cute. It's not. I'm sick of that scenario. Like, women in shows when they cook are regularly idiots. They don't even try their food, so then they go and foist it on people, and to the extremes, it looks disgusting. Like, come on, are you blind? And in non-extremes, it just tastes horrible, but they didn't taste test it themselves, so they don't believe it when someone says it tastes horrible, and they're like, oh, come on, all hurt and sad when they say it tastes gross. The guys regularly say it tastes awesome. Here, Tan says it's good, and then gently says, but kind of sour. In other words, he's lovingly honest. That's real love. Not lying through your teeth, giving the other person no room to learn and grow. In all the shows where it's like disgusting, they can barely choke it down, and they're like, no, it's good, and continue to force themselves to eat it. That's not love, okay? That's just lying through your teeth. That's not helpful. It's not love. What Tan did here, that was cute. That was real love. That was honesty. Honesty. You need honesty. It's so cute. What I specifically disliked about this episode was after they did so well in the first episode, again, the timing of scene switches, as well as the length of it, irks me so bad in this one. We're in the middle of a hilarious, loving it scene, in the middle of a discussion that isn't even ultimately that long, with Tan and Dapan and Deputy Ba. Why does the show have to interrupt it with Changmin and Chunting? Yes, what we see that with them is very important. Very important. We needed to see that. It's true. But why did the show have to break up the discussion with the other 3? Why did they have to put the 2 together and have it interrupting each other? Why did they have to break it up? That wasn't necessary and was actually quite distracting and really irritating instead. Number 2 of what I specifically disliked. Why did I forget Susi? I'm not sure how to say his name. It's spelled S-I in the subtitles. I don't know how to say it. Why did I forget he was the accountant for the Song family? He's brought back so randomly after being only shown once. We weren't told he was fired until, boom, we're suddenly told in the middle of everything that he's getting his job back again. That was kind of... Number 3 of what I specifically disliked, and I'll say it here in case I forget elsewhere. Honestly, overall, the further it goes, the more I don't like Changmin and Chunting. The stark difference between Tan/Jajan and the hard work they are putting into their relationship versus Changmin and Chunting just moping around, pouting at each other with slouched shoulders. No growth in their relationship. They keep kind of like stagnant or like backtracking. It's headball worthy. Especially on top of the scene from the past when Changmin up and leaves just like that for 7 years without talking to her. And that's all I'll say because I have to keep moving because I don't want to go over stuff again and again and again, and I'm running out of time because I'm supposed to be going to work. What I had questions about, number one, the medicine is fine, but you aren't. The more you remember, the more you will see me. Questions and whatnot I can't answer about DID, but once again, so it's not just the medication suppressing Mirror. Number two that I had questions about, I still need to know, is the show saying Mirror is undoubtedly a pathological liar that won't change no matter what? Is there more to the story we haven't seen to prove this? Or are they only basing it on what the show has shown, which doesn't include any kind of real work to really try and help Mirror understand what he's doing is wrong, with him absolutely refusing to listen? Is the lack of real attempts what makes it so hard for me to see that it's true? Or is it not true / not what the show is saying? It's just Tan that believes it because he's in the mix and can't see clearly through his own turmoil of emotions. When you're in the middle of stuff, you get biased towards stuff, and is that what we're seeing and is what is leading us to believe that Mirror is evil? Yeah, I really want to know when it comes to, like, what's the show saying and why I find it so hard to accept it. I'm not justifying everything Mirror does. When I'm claiming that he's not evil, he definitely makes a lot of mistakes and he does a lot of kind of dumb things, and like he should not be going to the poison and killing people and he shouldn't be shooting people and etc. like that. I'm not trying to justify any of that. But I'm just trying to say I don't think it's like a black versus white, because I don't think Tan and Mirror are actually different enough to call it a black versus white. There's actually a lot of similarities about them. But that's part of the thing too. I am not convinced because the show, there is no real work really shown to prove that there's no way that Mirror could ever change. There's just too much missing for me to be convinced that this is a black and white alter thing, like the typical, what you see in typical American shows, where one is extremely like that and one is extremely like that, and there's no melding and there's no, and that's a big reason why I think very possibly is because this show just, there's no, is Mirror a pathological liar or not? I can't even tell that from the show. So that was a little bit scattered too and a little bit quick in a way, but I hope it was at least sort of interesting. Now this so far is the longest that I've ever filmed, and I'm running out of time, so I really have to book it to get to work on time. So thank you for watching that, and thanks for sticking with me if you've been sticking with me this whole time. If you just jumped into the middle and that was confusing, maybe you should back up and go watch the other stuff. Go watch the show if you'd like to. If my walkthrough hasn't become so tedious that you're sick of hearing about it and don't want to watch the show. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye. Have a good day.
Oh. Oh.